Okay, now we're back. You're like in the middle of like saying it when I hit the button. So yeah, so now we're back.
Hello everybody! We are continuing with this farce of a trial.
Okay. Just when she said, "Hey, it's almost Christmas," I heard the gunshot. Are you sure? Of course I am. She had this real sexy voice.
So of course you...
Maybe Von Karmo's right. I'm not sure how that helped us at all. This is the most ludicrous testimony I've heard, but there's one glaring ray of hope in here. I've got to press until we get to the bottom of what happened. So, caught it, right?
I believe I did.
So, what do we present that contradicts him hearing the gunshot and saying it's almost Christmas?
Everyone else's testimonies.
Like, the first thing I think of is this. If he is talking about this gunshot, it's not almost Christmas. If he's talking about this gunshot, he is. Everyone is saying is like, but they heard two gunshots. So we have to show that this is not the gunshot he's talking about. Right?
I guess, but wouldn't that hurt our case? Can I see an overview of the lake again? Is it possible to do that without presenting it?
Yeah, so the car is where the Lotta was. The stand is where Larry works, which means that he would probably be at the bottom part of the lake.
He's at the complete other side.
Which
Here's
actually
the
would
gunshot.
explain why he probably didn't see it, because they were probably closer to the car. You know?
Yeah. That still doesn't explain how the air tank gets over by the boat rental shop.
I just realized that we no longer have that air tank on us. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, but my brain is spinning itself in circles. I don't know how that air tank got all the way over to the boat rental shop unless Larry accidentally drops it on his way to return the boat. But how did he get the air tank?
Well, it would have been attached.
Are we sure about
But
that?
how did it get detached? Like, I am still really worried about that. But, oh well.
It's just so shifty. His entire testimony is very shifty.
Okay, what's the lake photo? Larry, are you absolutely sure what you're saying is correct? Huh? What's with that face? You look scary, dude. Hey, if you're trying to scare me, you better know that I don't scare that easy.
That's a lie.
Is something the matter, Mr. Wright? Your Honor, did you hear what the witness just said? The DJ said, "Hey, it's almost Christmas," when he heard the gunshot. Indeed, and?
It was important.
Almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas yet. Do you realize what this means? When he heard the gunshot, it was still Christmas Eve.
Which puts a time on the first gunshot missing from the gun.
Yeah.
Because there's 3 missing. And the third one was unaccounted for up until this point.
I didn't realize that the audio was slightly down. Oh well. That would seem to be the case, yes. But he would have had to heard the gunshot after midnight. The photograph is irrefutable proof of that fact. Let's see what was on the time of the photo taken.
15 minutes after midnight on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Larry!
This is a clear contradiction, Your Honor.
Does it want us to explain it? Because we can explain it.
Yes.
Larry, you didn't buy us anything.
No, he basically proved that he was the only one to hear the first gunshot.
Which why was the gun even out there?
Okay. What does this mean? 2 prior witnesses heard gunshots after midnight. However, this witness says that he heard a gunshot before. Judge, the answer is simple.
He's lying.
The current witness is plainly mistaken.
Can we just...
Just look at him. Suspicious. What? Well, Mr. Wright, do you think Mr. Butts is also suspicious? Oh, crap. Larry is not mistaken, Your Honor. He heard the gunshot before midnight. Intriguing. I'm assuming you have evidence for this wild claim.
The third bullet, which no one has
Show-
ever talked about. It has to be the gun.
Show me evidence that there was a gunshot before midnight. Look at this photograph.
Every time.
It is making me laugh, at least. This was taken by our witness yesterday, Miss Lotta Hart, with her automatic camera. Timestamp on this photo was December 24th, 11:50.
It would have still been triggered for loud sounds.
Yeah.
Which backs up Larry's claim of there being a gunshot. Which
Like-
immediately raises the question of why is there a gunshot on the lake before anyone is even out there?
Okay, so the thing that I am currently thinking of right now, because I am trying to work back through my memory, because again, the last time I played this game was basically like somewhere between 5 to 7 years ago. Okay?
And I know who's guilty, I just don't know how to get there.
And when I remember, like, what I remember about this particular moment of the trial is that this was the shot that everyone heard and basically went, what is that? And now that they are super aware of things on the lake, because that was a loud sound on the lake.
Because they want
So now they're-
witnesses on the lake.
So now people are being observant. And then they hear the two gunshots.
Which draws Lotta, who is already there, and is a signal to the boat keeper to keep his eye on stuff.
But there's nothing on the lake in this picture. Your Honor, the real issue is not why nothing is shown in this photograph. It's why the photograph exists at all. Well, what do you mean? Your
Why
Honor,
is there a gunshot on the lake?
this photograph was taken by an automatic camera. That camera was set to go off in response to loud noises.
So
Aha!
Larry's
Correct.
testimony has weight because there was an actual noise.
There was a loud noise on the lake at 11:50 p.m. That is why this photograph was taken. In other words, when Larry heard that gunshot, it is still most definitely still Christmas Eve. Indeed, that would seem to be the case.
But so what?
But where does that leave us? Miss Hart justified she heard the gunshots after midnight. Are you claiming she was mistaken? No, not at all, Your Honor.
There's 3 bullets missing from the camera.
Yeah. It is in fact that the camera was triggered 15 minutes after midnight. Your Honor, that night there were 2 sets of gunshots with a 25-minute pause in between them.
Which is a giant red flag, and Larry is our only proof of that.
For context, that is the length of one of these episodes.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. There was enough time to watch one of our episodes between the moments of the
one
gunshot.
of our normal-sized episodes.
Yeah, not the previous one. That was like a half an hour. But still,
What
that's still around the same amount of time. That is a massive time
Discrepancy.
gap.
Why would there... And that accounts for the 3rd bullet, which is the most important thing. Is there's one... I can buy that there's a warning shot. I can't buy that there's 2. Because you don't fire off 2 warning shots unless you don't plan on killing someone.
The only thing I could think of is that one of the shots was not actually a bullet. That is the only thing I could think of. Because again, Lotta Hart, because there was a lot of loud bangs that have been on this lake in the past few weeks.
Could that 2nd bullet have been caused by a struggle for the gun?
Oh, definitely. But that's not what we see in the picture.
absolutely believe
That is not what we see in the picture, though. what we see is that they are probably
But that's
about
the
3 to
third.
4 feet away from each other, and the shot taken.
But why isn't there another photograph of the third bullet?
Yeah, it's right here.
No, that's the first one.
Because
That's the second
because it
one.
was still rolling. Remember, is that it uses an entire salvo of shots.
So while she was trying to get... Is that what we know for certain, that that's what her
Yeah.
testimony said?
Yeah, and it was like the first one goes off, uses up all the camera footage, then,
And then the
other
struggle
one,
for the gun happens,
and then the bullet goes off.
which would account for the missing bullet and for the dead man.
Yeah. Don't be fooled, Judge. Camera was set to respond to loud noises.
He's got headphones in them.
Yes. There was no proof that there was the loud noise at 11:50 was a gunshot. Why, the witness could have sneezed, triggering the camera. Hey, my nose was clear that night, man. Clear.
Plus, he was also far away from the camera.
Well, Mr. Wright, there's no turning back now. Can you prove that the loud noise at 11:50 was indeed a gunshot?
It should be the missing bullet in the gun.
Well, let's try to think about this, because even though I did just go over like a bunch of stuff, like again, we would
Logically, it should be this.
yeah. So let's try to present the pistol first, and if not, I guess we'll just try to.
Because what
Try to
else
work
could
back.
it be? It can't be the parrot.
Of course
Because it's
not.
too far away. It can't be Larry because he's too far away. Unless you want to tell me that the air tank
Yeah,
went
I
off
think
again.
I think it's the bullet. Sorry, I think it's the pistol, not the bullet.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my evidence. The murder weapon? Something about this pistol is bothering me, Your Honor. Both the witnesses who had testified yesterday heard 2 gunshots. However, the murder weapon was fired 3 times. When, then, was the last shot fired? Only now have I realized the truth. That third shot was the shot Larry heard just before midnight.
Don't know what you mean the first shot?
Order.
Got a point. There's a missing bullet unaccounted for unless we want to say that Miles shot it above his head in front of the boat dock just to clear a third bullet, which would have triggered the reel again, because Lotto would have loaded the camera in that time.
In my head, the sequence of events that is currently going on is, imagine Hammond and Edgeworth were at the boat dock. I'm going to imagine that Edgeworth had the gun for intents and purposes. So he's like, get into the boat, and he's like, I'm not getting into the boat, and he shoots and he shoots the
between his feet.
yeah, and he shoots between his feet, which
Wouldn't he have
triggers
picked
the
it up with-
the camera, which again is near the boat dock.
Which would alert the boat rental guy that there's a gun in the area.
Yeah, it would have alerted the boat rental guy. He's like, oh, what's that? Like, he probably woke up because of that and then saw them, like, going off onto the boat. And since Larry was coming back from, presumably, the bottom of the lake, he just barely passed them.
Which explains why he didn't see anybody on the lake.
Okay.
Well, Larry, you did provide us with a third bullet. But where does that leave us exactly?
Okay.
That would. And that makes Larry an actual witness. Alright.
However, this leaves me wondering what exactly did happen on the night of the lake.
I would like to know too, sir. I think we would all like to know. Von Karma just wants this
Exactly.
over with.
If this
In
is
his
true,
head,
there were
he's
2
like,
sets of gunshots separated by 25 minutes. One just before and one just after midnight.
So why didn't he die then? Unless Miles had no intent on killing him.
Yeah.
If we conclude that Miles is the one with the gun.
Yeah, again, all I can...
Which I don't think he was the one with the gun.
Like, we will probably figure out something about, on the boat. It could be Hammond who had the gun and shot between his legs, but either way, that's probably where the first bullet was shot. It was probably near the boat dock. So, why, I ask you, why?
Because why isn't there a dead body then not on... Why is there a... Because that then concludes, why is there a dead body on the lake at all? If it's from the same gun. Because that's what the answer is then.
I don't know what you mean by that.
No, it's like, I'm trying to answer that question he has.
Huh, better think of something quick. Wait a second. Gunshots separated by 25 minutes.
What's wrong, Nick?
I have it. I have it.
Huh?
Okay, so remember the case with the Steel Samurai?
Huh? Yeah, of course I remember. It was awesome.
So, the murderer in this case had the same idea as the murderer in that case.
What do you mean?
Maya.
Yes?
If we don't figure this out now, we'll never overturn Edward's guilty verdict. Got a hunch, and I'm gonna run with it.
Right. I mean, is this safe?
Safe? We've already gotten a guilty verdict. We've got nothing to lose.
I like that they've completely turned around what they were saying
I
earlier.
think I know what he's gonna try to prove.
Yes.
Gonna try to prove that he was shot on land, carried over onto the water, and then dumped into the water. But unfortunately, no, because then this photo wouldn't make sense. Okay, you just let me know if anything sounds fishy, okay?
Right, Nick.
Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Wright?
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Yes, Mr. Wright?
You, like, looked at
Testimony
me
was-
expectantly.
Just now has cleared up this entire case.
Actually, it hasn't.
No, but this is an avenue for us to actually try to get some more information. What do you mean, Mr. Wright? So, you finally realized the truth. There can be no other murderer than Miles Edgeworth himself.
Not true! This is very much untrue.
Wrong, Von Karma. A man was shot that night, but it wasn't Edgeworth who did the shooting. Listen, rookie. Take a deep breath. Consider the facts.
We have. It couldn't have been
At the
Edward.
time of the murder, one boat was on that lake. Two. Whatever. This was shown by the witness's photograph. The defendant, Edward, and the victim, Hammond, were on that boat. There was a gunshot fired on that boat, and Robert Hammond fell into the lake. The distance of the shooting was 1 meter. It couldn't have been a suicide.
And it had to have been from the front, or else he... Wait.
Well, see, would have fallen backwards, yeah.
Is that enough force to send someone backwards over the side of the boat?
No, the bullet wouldn't have knocked them backwards, but the shock of being hit by the bullet would have made them stagger backwards and fall off the boat.
And it was a small boat. And this is in anime, so...
The guilty party has to be the other man on that boat. I admit it's hard to imagine that there would be any possibility. Yes, but that assumes that the victim was shot 15 minutes after midnight. Well, what do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? We have photographic evidence of the time of the shooting. Timestamp on the photos says just after midnight. But Larry heard a gunshot 25 minutes before that. Robert Hammond was killed then, 25 minutes before the shot was on the lake. That's the only way Edgeworth could be innocent.
That makes no sense.
Mr. Wright, are you quite mad?
I
Explain how the two, who the two men on the boat are.
It's Edgeworth and the murderer.
Of course, it was Edgeworth and the murderer. After the murderer killed Robert Hammond at 11:50, he assumed the guise of Mr. Hammond and met Edgeworth.
He's probably right.
Yeah, now that I really think about it, I was like,
and he just tumbles backwards because he's got the gun.
And then he drops the gun for... What? Are you serious? Yes, Edgeworth won't tell us why he went onto the lake that night. However, I have a hunch. That night, Robert Hammond called Edgeworth to the lake. Edgeworth didn't know Robert Hammond's face that well. That's why he didn't suspect anything when the murderer took Robert Hammond's place. I'm not sure what to make of all this.
I'm not sure what to make of it either.
Ludicrous.
But that's just how we feel, man.
Mr. Wright, tell us the name of the murderer then. The murderer's name? Wright. It's... actually, I don't know the murderer's name.
It gives us a lot of heart as an option.
You don't know? Again, you wasted my time. I don't know because he never told us. The murderer is the caretaker of the boat shop, that old man.
Phoenix is like 5 steps ahead of this, trying to work a backwards puzzle.
At 11:50, he was the one who killed Robert Hammond. The caretaker? Well, where'd you do with this? There weren't any boats on the lake then.
Because he was on the shore.
Why would you have to go all the way out into the lake just to shoot someone? May I suggest that the real scene of the crime was not on a boat? What?
Wouldn't there be
Well then, where did the murder take place? Show the judge where the murder took place.
over the lake?
The boat shop. The boat shop where he lives. That way, he could meet with the victim without anyone seeing. Do you have proof that the boat shop was at the scene of the crime? Recall Larry's testimony, if you will. Okay, so they're trying to say that Larry was at the center of the lake. That night, he was on the lake on a boat, searching for something. Finds it, turns to the boat. Then, just as he's starting to head for home, he hears a gunshot. Here's a gunshot, Your Honor. Even though he was wearing headphones at the time, in other words, the gunshot was very, very close by. And where would that be if he had just returned a boat?
Because it didn't say he heard it on the lake.
The boat shop.
Larry, you fool!
Mr. Wright, what happened that night on Gourd Lake? Please tell the court from the beginning. Yes, Your Honor.
Nick, are you sure about this? No!
Not really. But I think if I start from the very beginning, and I take it slow, I might be able to figure this out. That night, the caretaker of the boat shop called Robert Hammond to his shop.
Where no one can see.
This was around 11:50. That was when the gunshot that Larry heard was fired. After that, the caretaker put on Robert Hammond's coat. He became Robert Hammond. Oh, that's why the shop is immaculately clean.
Except for the... And that's why we've got missing cooking equipment.
Most likely. Because they're all probably stowed under the kotatsu or the drawer.
My joke about there being a hidden compartment under the kotatsu comes true. Oh no, I meant that just to be a joke. Okay.
Okay. When he got onto the boat with Edgeworth... Oh, he got into the boat with Edgeworth and went out into the middle of the lake. Then who fired the pistol on the boat, Mr. Edgeworth?
Mr. Wright. Are
Mr.
you writing
Edgeworth.
fan fiction in your downtime?
Miles, who shot the pistol? What? Why are you gonna listen to me? Fine. Mr. Wright, will you say who fired the pistol? The boat shop owner, clearly, because he already had the bullet. Oh, he has a gun. Of course, it was the murderer who shot the pistol. Shot twice. He both missed Edgeworth on purpose.
Because he needs a live scapegoat, not a dead one.
Yeah.
Why? Well, I know why, but why?
Wait a minute. Yeah? Why would he shoot twice if he didn't mean to hit anyone? Details.
Because he needs a live scapegoat for the killing of Robert Hammond.
Or
Which
maybe he
Miles-
shot twice just to make sure that people, like, heard the shot, went out to investigate, and then shot
Why
again
shoot
so
twice,
people...
though?
Again, maybe to get as many pieces of witnesses as possible. Okay. Know this, Mr. Wright.
Well, the answer is because he needs a live scapegoat.
The moment you run out of all of explanations is the moment you lose.
I think he's made enough explanations, really.
Then tell us why the murderer had the fire twice. To create a witness. I believe he shot twice to create a witness, Your Honor. Create a witness? The murderer lifts his pistol, fires one shot. That ensures that anyone who heard the shot would look at the lake. Yeah. Indeed, his heart did exactly that after hearing the first shot. Next, the murderer waits a bit and he fires again.
And Miles is shaken.
Then, the murderer jumps from the boat himself,
Because he can swim.
leaving the pistol in the boat behind him.
As collateral against Miles.
I see. To someone looking up from the edge of the lake, it would appear that one of the men on the boat had shot the other.
Because there's a gun in the boat and a still living man on the other side of the boat.
Murderer didn't know about the automatic camera, of course. That's why he shot twice to draw the attention to the boat.
He's got a point.
Once you realize that, everything else falls into place. The boat shop caretaker swam back to his shop. Then he put Mr. Hammond's coat back on Mr. Hammond's wet coat back onto the body. Threw the body into the lake. And this is what happened, Your Honor. These are the events that transpired that night on Gore Lake. Bailiff? Bring out the witness from before. The boat shop caretaker, quickly!
Unless he's fled the scene like he should have. Can we prod him with sticks until he answers us?
Very well. While we were waiting for the caretaker, I would like to ask the defendant, Miles Edgeworth, a few questions.
About time someone forced him to answer for himself.
Edgeworth goes, wow, this is unprecedented.
Oh no, he's gonna
Mr.
get
Edgeworth,
torn
please
apart
take
by
the stand.
karma. He looks so small in there.
Mr. Edgeworth, you heard what the defense has said, right? Yes. Well? Why'd you go onto the lake that night?
Answer us, Edgeworth.
What Wright has said was mostly correct. Astonishingly so, actually. Yes. Several days ago, I received a letter. The letter was signed Robert Hammond.
Probably forged.
He asked me to come to the boat shop by the lake on midnight on Christmas Eve. Said he had something very important to discuss with me. Something important?
Just say the words, Miles. It won't make the boogeyman any more real. Man, he needs therapy. He needs therapy, and therapy bad.
Sorry, I can't say what it was. Your Honor, sir? Oh, bailiff, we are conducting a trial here. I ask you that you remain quiet. The witness has disappeared. He isn't at the boat shop either.
That was quick.
Well, what?
He actually did flee the scene. Like Von Karma told him to.
Oh, what should I do? Well, find him quickly. We can't allow him to get away.
This is a pending murder investigation. He was ordered by the police to stay put. Von Karma's got egg all over his face.
Mr. Von Karma, your witness has disappeared.
Explain your way out of this Manny.
Search warrant has already been issued.
Oh, he hates this.
Goes without saying that I cannot declare verdict under these circumstances. I will extend the trial until tomorrow, the final day allowed. I request the police department utilize all forces to find that witness.
That's probably not even his boat shop.
No, it probably is.
Maybe. Who knows?
Am I understood?
We need to get that parrot.
Man, we're gonna have to prosecute that parrot.
That parrot.
Man,
is
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Well,
Okay,
technically, we have
so-
the parrot in our back pocket, anyways.
So, who is that bookshop caretaker? I think his identity has become very important to this trial. I want him, and I want to know who he is.
I love the judge. He's amazing. Say the name.
Very well, court is adjourned.
Say his name, Karma. Because I know who he is. Yay, Nick, you did it! You bluffed your way to the truth again!
Well, at least we got out from under that guilty verdict.
And what about Larry? That was something else. Even Von Karma didn't know what to do with his testimony. Larry really helped us out. Big shocker.
Sure, I once sifted through his unique testimony. Still, he did save us. I just wish our cases weren't so down to the wire all the time.
I know what you mean. Sometimes I feel like it's us on trial instead of our clients. Well, actually, that's been that way twice already.
Yeah, Edgeworth.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Did you say something?
Were you thinking again? Don't look so pained. I mean, it looks like you're probably going to get off the hook, probably. You could try to smile just a little, relax, and then he gives like a creepy grin. It's like, no, put that back.
I'm sorry, but I feel it's not over for me just yet. What do you mean? Right. There's something that's been troubling me for a long time now.
He knows who it is. He knows who to blame.
And I don't know whether to tell you or not.
Especially where other people can hear.
Edward? No, there's a little time left. I want to tell you to get off my chest, but...
Yeah?
Can't make up my mind. What is this about, Edgeworth?
Just confess.
It's a nightmare I've had.
It's the boogeyman.
Memory of a crime.
It is the boogeyman.
A crime you committed? A memory of a murder.
Oh, and the mystery deepens.
So we have one more day of investigation, one more day of trial left.
That's a good place to end for the episode, actually, with that to be continued.
Yeah. So I guess we will see you guys next time.
See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.